Ahoy there! If you're thinking about buying a cruise drink package, I want to share these 10 thinking pitfalls that can quietly shape your decision, often in ways that are easy to miss. These packages can be expensive, and with advanced purchase discounts, it can start to feel like a high-pressure choice. I'm David from Curious to Travel, and when I'm not cruising, I work as a psychotherapist. I believe that by understanding these psychological patterns, you can take the pressure off and make more satisfying choices. And stick around for pitfall number 10. It's something easy to fall into, even outside of cruising, and it might just change the way you approach decisions in general. Let's dive in. Let's get straight to it. Thinking pitfall number 1, all or nothing. This one's fascinating because it involves two psychological processes happening almost at once. Now, first of all, this decision itself happens to be a binary one. You buy the drinks package or you don't buy the drinks package. But from there, in the way that we feel it, this split is exaggerated. In our minds, it can kind of become either we have full access to drinks or we don't. And that's a false choice. You can get drinks either way. The only difference is how you pay, up front or as you go. Secondly, our emotions, including our desires and our fears, are projected into these two options. The package feels like an abundance, cocktails flowing and needs taken care of, and without it, we can imagine deprivation. And cruise lines often play into this with names like Have It All or A World of Drinks, as if saying no means missing out entirely. But here's the irony, most drinks packages come with limits, either in the quantity, quality or type of drinks, depending upon which package. Like on Cunard's beer, wines and spirits package, for example, you're capped at 15 drinks per person per day and only up to $13.50 per drink. Want champagne or premium cocktail? That's extra. So this idea of abundance versus deprivation, it's an illusion. You're not opting in or out of indulgence. You're just choosing how you want to pay. And recognizing that can free you to make a calmer and clearer choice. Thinking pitfall number 2, fear of missing out. It's completely normal to compare ourselves, whether to others around us or to alternate versions of ourselves who made different choices. It's part of how we understand the world. But that comparison can spark FOMO, the fear that we'll miss out on something good. And when it comes to drink packages, that can feel like, if I don't get it, I'll regret it later or feel left out. But here's the first issue. As we saw in pitfall number 1, the idea that you either have full access to drinks or you'll be deprived is a false choice. You can still enjoy drinks without the package. It's not all or nothing. So the FOMO itself is built on shaky ground. And second, it's often not the missing out we fear, it's how we'll feel if we think that we've missed out. That can mean feeling regret, disappointment, even painful feelings like envy if others seem to be enjoying something that we passed up. And these emotions are very human, but they can push us into decisions made more from discomfort than desire. So instead of asking, what if I miss out? Try asking, what am I concerned I'll feel? And how can I handle that with care? That shift can make space for a more thoughtful and less pressured choice. Thinking pitfall number 3, fortune telling. Cruise drink packages are usually charged per person per day, often between $50 and $100 for alcohol-inclusive versions. So, to break even, you'll need to drink enough daily to match that cost. On Cunard's beers, wines and spirits package, that typically might mean 5 cocktails plus a couple of specialty coffees every single day. But here's the trap. You assume in advance that you'll automatically drink that much. And that's fortune telling. Psychologically predicting the future as if it's certain. Cruises are unpredictable. On port days, you might be out all day and come back feeling tired and want an early night. Rough seas might make you feel a bit queasy. You might plan a detox day, a spa day, and I just not feel like drinking. And yes, you could even catch a bug or feel unwell. But once you pay for the package, you're locked in. There's no refunds after invocation. So be realistic. Don't buy a drink package unless you're fairly sure you'll use it nearly every day. Or if you value simplicity, peace of mind, and not having to think about bills, then it might be worth it, even if you don't break even. The key is knowing what kind of experience you want and choosing from there, not from fantasy. Which brings us on to 4, the fantasy self trap. When we think about buying a drink package, we're often imagining how we'll be on the cruise. Let's call this idealized version of ourselves Cruise Me. Cruise Me is easygoing, indulgent, always in the mood for a cocktail or a cappuccino. Cruise Me never feels bloated, tired, hungover, or hesitant. Cruise Me is fun, spontaneous, and fully switched on every day. But here's the thing. Cruise Me isn't the whole picture. In real life, even on holiday, we have limits. We get tired. We change our minds. Some days we feel like indulging, other days we don't. And when we bought the drink package for Cruise Me and find ourselves feeling more like the real me, it can create tension. We might feel pressure to use the package fully, to justify it, even if it's not quite what we want anymore. This isn't about being pessimistic, it's about being kind to ourselves and honest about our rhythms and needs. So, when deciding, try asking, am I buying this for who I wish I was or for who I actually am? Because fantasy isn't wrong, it's just not the best person to hand your credit card to. Pitfall number 5, the saving trap. You might be familiar with Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. In it, Dickens created the unforgettable character of Scrooge. And bear with me, I promise I'm going somewhere with this. Scrooge was obsessed with saving. He hoarded his money, avoided unnecessary spending, and made sure his ledgers always showed a profit. No losses. He was harsh, even cruel, in how he protected his wealth. But if we look deeper, we see a man driven not only by greed, but by grief. Scrooge had suffered great losses. He'd lost his parents and was an orphan. Later then, he lost his fiancée, and eventually he lost a whole life that he might have lived. And so saving became more than financial. It became a way for him to feel control. He couldn't stop his personal losses, but he could control the numbers. So what does this have to do with cruise drink packages? Well, these packages often play into one powerful idea, that you'll save money. And maybe you will, or maybe you won't. But the real question is, how much does that saving actually matter to you? Because sometimes the drive to get the best deal becomes bigger than the decision itself. You can get caught up in comparing prices, chasing value, trying to outsmart the system, when what you really want to do is enjoy yourself. And remember, money is only one of life's currencies. There's also time, love, health, peace of mind, simplicity, freedom from obsessing over spreadsheets. So, if you find yourself tangled up in trying to calculate whether the drink package would definitely save you money, maybe just pause and ask, what else might I be trying to save? That question can open the door to a much more personal and more meaningful answer. Number 6, getting your money's worth. Let's say you've bought the drinks package. It's done, paid for. Now, something interesting can start to happen. Without even realizing it, you might feel a subtle pressure to get your money's worth. That could mean ordering that second after-dinner Grand Marnier you didn't really want, or making sure you get several specialty coffees each day just because they're included. It's completely understandable. After all, you've spent a lot. But here's the problem. When the focus shifts to maximizing value, it can start to override how you actually feel. You might find yourself drinking more than you normally would, or at times of day you wouldn't normally choose to, just to justify the purchase. It's kind of a psychological accounting that says, I paid for 15 drinks a day, so I need to use 15 drinks a day. But at what cost? If you're consuming more than you want, or feeling slightly unwell, or simply losing touch with your natural rhythm, then maybe that extra drink isn't really adding value after all. So, rather than trying to extract every penny of value, it can help to ask, what would feel like enough for me without needing to prove anything to myself or anyone else? Thinking pitfall number 7. Denial of accountability. When you buy a drinks package, everything's prepaid. You're not paying per drink anymore, and that can feel like freedom. But it also removes something important, the natural pause. When we pay as we go, we tend to check in with ourselves. Do I want another? How do I feel? With a package, that pause often disappears. And when it does, it becomes easier to lose track. Not because of lack of self-control, but because the system removes the need to be aware. It's a bit like a buffet. When the usual cues of moderation are gone, we might eat or drink more than we actually want. This won't affect everybody the same way, but for some, it means going past your natural limits, not out of desire, but out of habit. So the question becomes, do I want to stay in touch with my choices or let them run in the background? Allow yourself to pause. This gives yourself the chance to choose, not just react. Pitfall number 8, the Fairness Fallacy. One of the interesting things about the mind is that we often act on assumptions that we're not even aware of. And for some people, one of these is the Fairness Fallacy, the belief that the world or other people should be fair. It's a comforting idea, and when life isn't fair, it can leave them feeling angry, confused, or even betrayed. So let's apply this to cruise drink packages. Cruise lines present themselves as organisations that look after you. They house you, feed you, entertain you, even protect your safety. So it's easy to feel like they're on your side, and that the deal they're offering, especially with a pre-embarkation discount, must be fair. But cruise companies aren't personal caretakers. They're businesses, and they're very, very good at what they do. Backed by years of data from millions of guests, they know how to price drink packages in a way that feels appealing, but still absolutely turns a profit. So, when a drink package is presented as a good deal, it might be. But not because the cruise line is doing you a favour. It's because they know how the averages work. And a bit like a casino, the house usually wins. This doesn't mean you shouldn't buy the package, but it does mean don't assume fairness. assume strategy, then decide from there on your terms. Thinking pitfall number 9, the wish to be looked after. At some deep level, there may be an emotional imprint from very early life when being held, fed and comforted felt completely safe and satisfying. The memory is unlikely to be conscious, but the experience likely shaped something. Being soothed just by someone's presence, having needs met without effort or expectation. Even in adulthood, echoes of that feeling can linger in quieter, more grown-up ways. There's still comfort in being cared for, treated gently, or momentarily relieved of the need to provide for oneself. This can be part of what makes drinks packages feel like more than just drinks. You see, it's not only about the cocktails or the cappuccinos, it's the experience of being looked after. A drink comes with a smile. It tastes delicious. It's handmade, just for you. And because it's prepaid, it can feel generous, almost like a kindness. In that sense, it can resemble being nurtured. Not childlike, just human. There's nothing wrong with this. But it can help to ask, is this about the drink or the feeling that comes with it? Because when the real pull is understood, you may find you're buying more than just a drinks package. If you found these insights helpful so far, feel free to give this video a like and consider subscribing if you'd like more thoughtful takes on cruising and travel, especially Cunard. It really helps the channel and lets me keep making content like this for you. Now, pitfall number 10 is one I mentioned at the start, and it's something we all can fall into, not just on cruises. Thinking pitfall number 10, the right-wrong fallacy. When it comes to drink packages, there can be a pressure to get it right. Should I book it or not? What if I regret it? What if I waste money? It's understandable. These decisions cost a lot of money, and they may be time sensitive. But they're rarely black and white. There usually isn't a perfect answer, just different trade-offs. And when we believe there might be a right choice, we end up overthinking and being unsure. So instead of asking, what's the right decision, try asking, what matters most to me on this cruise? If it's simplicity, maybe a drinks package works. You don't have to track spending. If it's flexibility, paying as you go might give you more freedom. If it's peace of mind, prepaying might help you relax, even if it costs a little more. And this isn't just about cruising. Decisions like this are in all parts of life, where the so-called wrong choice is feared, instead of choosing based on personal values. So ask yourself, what would feel good? Not because it's so-called perfect, but because it fits who I am right now. That's the shift, because if you can stop chasing the right and start choosing with clarity, you don't just make better decisions, you feel better about them on cruises and everywhere else. I hope this has helped you to look at your cruise drink package dilemmas from a fresh perspective. As a psychotherapist, I'm often helping people understand their dilemmas better and how their minds can quietly steer them without realizing. My aim isn't to tell you whether to buy or not buy, but to invite you to pause and think about what's really motivating your decision. Whether it's the wish to save, or to feel looked after, or to avoid regret, these are all part of being human. But when you bring a little awareness to what's driving you, you're enabled to make choices that feel more aligned and more satisfying. Because in the end, it's rarely about getting it right. It's about choosing what fits you. Cheers to whatever you decide for your cruise. I hope it brings you clarity, calm, and meets your needs. I'm David from Curious to Travel. Stay curious.